At 17, I knew how to solve algebra problems, but nobody taught me how money really worked. Nobody explained credit, budgeting, or what happens when you become a parent before you're financially ready. This episode is about the conversations many of us deserved but never had. Welcome back to the Success Over Statistics podcast. I'm your host, Courtney Jackson. This episode is going to be titled Money Conversations We Wish We Had at 17. Let's jump in. Our family experiences shape our money beliefs. I want you to think back to how you were raised. And if you are one of my young moms that are here that are watching this and you are currently still being raised or in a household with a caregiver, I just want you to think about what I'm about to say and use this as a way to look in the mirror to see if you are modeling any of these behaviors, good or bad. And if you're one of our former teen moms who are watching, also apply this to you and just answer some of these questions, right? Hopefully you have like a journal or a notebook or something that you write down thoughts as you are, tuned into this podcast, because a lot of things are going to come up as you listen to this podcast, and I want you to have a place to jot it down. So think about how you were raised, who your caregiver was. What did you often hear? Go back to a moment where you were sitting at your dining room or kitchen table, right? You were having, let's say in the morning, you were having like a bowl of cereal, some orange juice or whatever, the cartoons was on the TV, whatever, right? Or picture yourself in your living room, sitting on your couch. You guys are watching TV. The mailman comes. He's dropping the bill in the mailbox, and then he walks off. Your caregiver gets up. They go to the mailbox. They get the mail. They open it. What's the first thing they say when they look at the bill? What are some of those conversations that came up around the first of the month? I want you to remember something. Family experiences shape money beliefs. Before anyone can tell you what a credit score is, you have to think about what you hear about money and finances and resources in the home that you're in. And it is not to demonize or put down the person that is your caregiver who is taking care of you. What it is saying is that mindsets can be passed down generationally too, right? So we always talk about like generational wealth, and we always talk about, breaking generational cycles. But I think we don't talk about generational mindsets enough, and how that is a key area that we need to work through before we decide that we're going to do something different or something out of the ordinary than what the generations before us have done or accomplished. So remember, money isn't just math, it's emotional. Okay, it is. Your family experiences shaped whether you had an abundance mindset or a scarcity mindset, and the difference between the two. A scarcity mindset can look like this. It doesn't just mean that you think in limitations and, you have, poverty mindset, or you think money is hard to come by. I think social media makes scarcity mindset. Let me do my part to fully explain what I think scarcity mindset is. Scarcity mindset is you're in a space that you think life is limited, full of options that are available to you because of who you are, because of where you come from, because of your family background, because of your education, because of the credentials or the degrees that you have or you don't have, because you're a teen parent, because, whatever you want to put in that line. Scarcity mindset is saying I'm only able to accomplish, or these two options are available to me. When somebody says, oh, end up in debt or in jail, that's a scarcity mindset. You're saying that's the only two options that's available because I come from this side of town or because I'm from this neighborhood. So that's scarcity mindset. And I never allowed anyone to put a scarcity mindset on me as a teen mom. And I don't want you to do that either. Think if you are building an in-house scarcity mindset because of the family that you experience. Ask yourself, are you limiting yourself and the options that are available to you because of the family experiences that you've had up until this point? Abundance mindset is the complete opposite. Abundance mindset is when you're free. Like you are the dream chaser, but not just the dream chaser. You think about like how to make it practical, how to bring it down to earth and make it real world. Like you go for it. If you want it, you go for it, or you figure out how to go for it. Or internally, you might be that dreamer who just doesn't know how to go for it yet. But when somebody like me starts talking to you and you start hearing these types of conversations, it lights something up in you and you ready to rock, like you ready to go, right? So that's an abundance mindset. It's a person that's willing to step out and reach out of the boundaries that other people try to place around them, and they're willing to go for it and they want to get it done. Abundance mindset just means that you go for abundance. You go for the bigger life, to me. So remember what I just said. Money isn't just math, it's emotional. Question: what messages about money did you hear growing up? Write that down. Now let me go into this. Your first paycheck. The conversation I wish somebody had with me when I was 17. Your first paycheck isn't freedom if you don't have a plan. If no one has ever said this to you before, let me just step in as your big sis for a minute. If you don't have a plan, let me tell you how that first paycheck gonna look. And I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just having conversations with you that I wish somebody had with me when I was a 17-year-old mom. Budgeting is the first thing. Budgeting basics. Do you have every one of your dollars is meant to have a job? This is something I tell the startup business owners that I work with every day. This is something that I tell the 6-figure business owners that I work with when I work with 7-figure, million dollar businesses and beyond. It's the same conversation. They just operating at a different level with a different understanding, and it compounds on top of each other once you get the basics. But as a 17-year-old or as a teenager, teen mom, and for my former teen moms too, you might still need some help with this. Every single one of your dollars is intended to have a job. They should be assigned somewhere. So the first thing is paying yourself. Step one, because our emergency savings, should be stacked up. Our you could say your emergency savings and your rainy day fund is the same thing, but sometimes I treat them as different things. But I'm gonna say double because I'm big on that. Your emergency savings and rainy day fund, it should be stacked up. Your play money, which is, I'm gonna get to what that is in a second, but your play money for my business owners, your profit, you should have a percentage that you put to your profit. Read Profit First, classic book, right? That should be stacked up. Pay yourself first, always. Absolutely always. That don't mean you're gonna have to go and spend it as soon as you pay it to yourself, but you don't work just to pay bills and just to make sure everybody else is good. You work to be able to live comfortably. And if this was something that I started, if I had this mindset when I had my first job working at that Burger King, right around the way, my mama still lived around the corner from that Burger King that I worked at. When I had my very first job, right? Hundreds and thousands and probably millions of dollars earned ago. If I'm being realistic, millions of dollars earned ago. The very first job at Burger King. If I would have known this, my life would be in a whole different situation. It would look completely different because I would have moved different with all that money that I earned from 17 to like 30. I would have moved different, right? So is how you are going to make sure that you have a cushion, that you are comfortable. If you are still right now living with your caregiver, a parent, a grandparent, somebody is gracious enough and courteous enough to let you live in their house and you don't have to pay for a roof and you don't have to pay for overhead over your own head, you need to be stacking up your emergency savings, your profit, paying yourself first. Okay? That's number one. About emergency funds. I'm gonna go into emergency funds in a second, but before I get there, I need to talk about this: wants versus needs. An emergency is you have to get to work. The baby has to get to the babysitter or the daycare, and the bus broke down in the middle of the street because we know what's going on with transportation right now. They not acting right. Something happened to the bus and he had to pull over on the side of the road. You had emergency. Okay, you had money set to the side so you could cover a Uber. You could cover, a way for you to get to the daycare and then for you to get to work without you having to go into your own money or call somebody to borrow, money or whatever. You can get to your destination safely. It's an emergency. If you're driving and something happens, like I did one time, I was driving somewhere and don't ask me how. I had just got my tires rotated. And I was driving somewhere, just got my tires rotated and drove over a rock. And the rock lodged itself into my tire. Next thing I know, the next day I come out, look at my car to go to work, flat tire. How we do that? So that's an emergency. I still have to go to work. My kid still has to get to school. Well, right now, summer camp. So had to go get the tire fixed. Had to get it, AAA came and towed it to the person. They took care of it. Boom, boom. I got my tire done. But that's an emergency. So emergency fund, listen to me. The average American is not prepared for what's the statistic? Somebody gonna correct, make sure you put the right statistic in the comments. But the average American is not prepared to cover like a $500 emergency. And that's grown adults. And that's sad. As a community, as a collective, most Americans, most of us cannot, cover a $500 emergency. That is insane. you are in a position, if you listening to me right now, when you're a teenager, you in a position where that never has to be your life. That never has to be your story. And I wish somebody would have said this to me when I was 17. I'm going to keep saying that. So emergency funds, wants versus needs. Yes. Cover your emergencies first. That first paycheck, set aside, I say 30%. You're not paying rent. Set aside 30%, 40% if you can, for emergency funds and paying yourself first. Stack that up. Do that for a year. See where you are for the end of the year, and don't touch that money unless it's an emergency. Wants versus needs. Wants is, I want to get my nails done. I want my eyebrows right. I got to get this done. You know, I want the new, I don't know, fill in the blank, right? The wants. Needs is, you need formula, you need groceries, you need a new, pair of supportive shoes because you have to go, do a shift down at the local restaurant where you are waitressing at. Needs versus wants. Sometimes what you want can wait. What you want can wait. Because if you have a goal and you want to achieve your financial stability, not just freedom. Freedom is the next level. We just talking about being stable. You want to achieve financial stability, then you have to learn how to wait sometimes for what you want. All right. Making more money, remember this, making more money won't solve poor money habits. So if you get your first paycheck and you go blow it on the aloe set, that's not what, I mean, okay, but you're not hitting your goals. We that's not what we're doing, right? Making more money won't solve poor money habits. So remember, your first paycheck isn't freedom if you don't have a plan. Okay, I just put up a whole, I think it's a financial workbook over on the website, tmomsmatter.com. Go over there and grab the workbook. It's $30 or so. Go over there and grab the workbook and write out what your financial plan is. What you want to set it outside to savings. How much you want to put in your emergency savings. What are the bills that you are responsible for? Let's say you do have a phone bill. Let's say you do have daycare or copay fees. Let's say, you have to pay for transportation, SEPTA, or, ride share, or, you pay some type of gas to get a ride to and from where you have to go every week. Let's say you're working, whatever. Maybe there is some kind of upkeep you have to do because you work like in an office setting, or you're in an internship, or you're in school for that, political science degree, whatever. Write out what your budget looks like, what you need to cover in that workbook. Go get the workbooks on tmomsmatter.com, the financial workbook. And then that way, each one of your dollars has a job. That's the basics. Okay? Next thing we're going to talk about. Credit scores matter more than we were told. Let me explain to you something I was never told. And I did not find out until I became an adult and I started trying to get my own apartments. And then I went into wanting to buy my first house. That is when the very hard lessons of credit hit me in my face. So I want to save you some time and some heartache and some stress. And let's have this conversation right now. Protect your name and your credit like it's an asset. Your credit score is your report card for how responsible you are when someone fronts you a certain amount of money. Let me say it again. A credit score is a report card for how financially responsible you are when someone fronts you a certain amount of money. That can look like a note, a certain amount of money so that you can, finance and drive a vehicle. That can look like a certain amount of money so that you can lease an apartment for a year. Or someone saying, here, I'm going to give you this apartment access. I'm going to give you access, not give it to you, but I'm going to give you access to this building or to this apartment or to this room for 12 months. This is what it costs to maintain this room for 12 months. Do you agree that you're going to pay the rent, pay the maintenance for this living space for a year? That's credit. I'm giving you access to something. Access, okay? That's the word. A year, are you going to meet your obligations and do good, right, on this access that I'm giving you? Here's the thing. You're young. Credit is like water. It's not hard to get. They will hand you a credit card. They will hand you all the student loans. They will hand you all the access. But what they don't hand you is the knowledge on how to manage that access And they don't tell you that you are supposed to protect your name and your credit like it's an asset, because it is. Meaning this, you get the credit card, but does anybody tell you what APR is? Does anybody tell you what interest is? Do you understand what an interest rate does on that $1,000 credit card you might have? You might have a $1,500 credit card. They don't tell you you're going to end up paying $5,000 back on it because of the interest. Because the bank is making money on that $1,500 that they gave you. They gave you $1,500 in a credit card, but they're going to charge you $3,000 for the pleasure of doing it. So credit is your report card for the access somebody is giving you. Okay? But they're going to charge you for giving you that access. They're going to charge you interest. Paying your bills on time matters more than you know. Because every time you pay your bills on time, you are getting a green check mark, you're getting an A+, you're getting graded on that month, whether you made good on that access or that credit they gave you. And they keep score on you. That's your credit report. Every month they're going to give you a green check mark, or they're going to give you a big fat red X that says risky, unreliable, doesn't meet agreements, a slow pay, right? They're going to put these things on your report, which later, if you want to go get a nice condo, you want to go get a nice luxury apartment, you want to buy a house, then the bank looks at your report card and says, well, they had the $300 department store credit card and they didn't even pay that off. Why would we give them this type of access to go buy property? It's not happening. So paying your bills on time gives you those stamps of approval every single month to prove that you can be trusted by banks, by lenders, by creditors, by anyone who has access to assets that you are going to want to get access to later down the line. Credit cards are not free money. That down. Credit cards are not free money. Time you get a credit card, it's like getting into a new relationship. They're going to grade you on how well you treat them or how you abuse it. Bad credit affects apartments, it affects cars, it affects entrepreneurship. You want to start that business, you want to get inventory for your business, you want to get equipment to open up your own, nail salon, whatever. It affects home ownership. You have the baby, you're going to want somewhere for you and the baby to live. If you're in a place or an apartment that you don't like right now, well, you need credit to get into the better apartment that has all of the amenities that you want, that are going to make you guys comfortable, that are going to make your quality of living better. So credit matters. It matters a lot. And I want you to be very careful about any decisions you make to accept credit or to take credit. Do not take it if you don't have the ability to pay it back every month. There's different strategies and there's different things that I'll be talking about more here on the podcast. I'll be talking about it more. I'll mainly host it here, so you don't have to go looking for it. You'll see the clips and things around social media. But I'm really going to get into this more on the podcast because I want you to have the game plan for how you can start to build your credit responsibly. And so you don't get taken advantage of and you don't fall into situations where you're not able to pay it back. Okay? I want you to be able to build, not be built on by somebody else. Last thing we're going to talk about, the cost of relationships and choosing the wrong partner. I was having a conversation this morning with my auntie and my uncle. You guys watch the podcast. I talk about them all the time. They're basically they're literally my parents. And we were talking about it, and my auntie said, having the wrong man can ruin your life. I said, the wrong man can ruin life. I said, the wrong man can, no, she said, having the wrong man can deter you or hold you back, something to that effect. And I said, really? I said, it can? She said, no, having the wrong man could destroy you. I said, oh. When you get into a relationship, I want you to ask this question. First of all, if you're in a place where you don't even have the financial stability you want to have, I'm going to hold your hand as your big sister when I say this. It's not time to be in a relationship if you're not financially stable. How can you build something with somebody else if you haven't built thing for yourself or your baby yet? Because that's the question. How can you be financial? First of all, if you're gonna be with somebody, you guys are supposed to be what's biblically called equally yoked. You guys have to be on the same page, thinking a lot, thinking the same, moving the same, have similar beliefs and energies. It's supposed to be two positives who can come together and build something greater than the both of you. But you can't do that if you're coming into a situation with nothing and nothing. Not only that, if it's not even if it's a situation shit, I mean, what's the point of that? You putting out money to go out, to hang out, to smoke, drink, whatever, go to a movie, going out, like you're spending more than likely cutting into the emergency fund I just talked about, cutting into that profit, cutting into money that should be set aside for you and your child, cutting into savings that you should be putting up because you want to get the car, you want to get the house, you want whatever, you want to take the trip. And then you're cutting in the funds to spend time with this person. But time is also of extreme wealth. I would argue to say time is more valuable than money itself, because time is finite. You can't get it back once it's spent. So, and I'm saying this too from experience. I think about the decade that I spent in a relationship that I cannot get back. And the person was not interested at all in building anything with me, right? And I didn't realize that because I was young and dumb and in my 20s and all of that. And, thank the Most High for what I learned from it, because it truly did make me a better person to go through that experience. But if I'm going back in time and thinking all of the building I'm doing right now, I could have did it during those years where I was investing into that person who wasn't investing back into me. So one, love doesn't pay the bills. Don't. You can't walk into the bank. You can't open up your Venmo and send love to your landlord and say, here's the rent for the month. That's not it. It don't work. So that's the thing. We could be in love, cool, but it's nothing going on over here but the rent. So what's getting paid for? On a light bill, a phone bill, what we doing? Not like that. I'm not telling you to just only ask and go for the money, but you a mother, you a parent. You have real life obligations. Why are we spending time up under somebody who only want to spend time and nothing else? If you're not financially stable and where you want to be at, you should hold off on dating until you get to a place where you can take yourself to what's it called, Nobu. If you want to go to Nobu, take yourself to Nobu. Do that yourself. Get yourself to a place where you can go to the restaurant. You can take yourself on the trip. Back from Austin for a week. Went out there, wonderful. It was amazing. But I had to have my own money to do it. You want to take yourself to the trip, and it was bomb. I loved it. The hotel was amazing. I had the balcony hotel to myself for a whole week. No kids. Living. Like, bomb. If I could hit rewind, I would go do it again. I had to have my own money. I had to be at a certain place of, stability to do that. Not depending on the man to take the trip. That's not cute. We're not depending on the boy to fly. Don't depend on the boy to fly you out. Fly yourself out, right? Fly yourself out. Becoming a parent changes everything financially, because now you're responsible not for you, but for two. So now that you are in that situation, honest conversations need to be had with yourself. I need to get myself. Do I need to get the degree? Do I need to go get my CNA licensing? Do I need to go get the CDL? Do I need to, lock in, do I have support from my family so they can babysit and watch the baby or watch the kids while I go do X, Y, Z? Do I have my career in motion? Am I starting a business? Work the full-time job while you start the business? What are we doing? What's the plan? That should be the focus, because you are your number one priority before you can get into a relationship. A lot of us don't even know what a real relationship look like. We don't even know what love looks like because we never really saw it. So we out here just trying to duplicate and mimic what we were sold in Disney movies and in these rom-coms, but it's not real life how it works in healthy relationships. And you cannot have a healthy relationship when you're still staying with your mom. What are we talking about? Choosing the wrong partner sets you back over a decade. Listen to me when I tell you from real world experience. Choosing the wrong partner will set you back over a decade. They will have you in debt. Know how I know? I'm still paying debt from that relationship I just told you about. Will hinder you from getting a house. Know how I know? Because I'm still working on that debt so I can buy my house from that relationship I just told you about. Will have you focusing on that relationship and that person and that partner more than building your own abilities and your own financial life first. You the one that don't want to listen and you want to say, well, this person loved me. Cool. Let me ask you this. Ask yourself this question. Can this person build with me, or am I carrying the entire load? I'm not talking what they say out their mouth. I'm not talking this. I'm saying, can this person build with you real life tangibles? Are they helping you build real world assets? Are bills being paid? Is the savings account increasing? Are we putting away for college untouched for the baby? Or we don't want to do college? Do we want to do a trade school? Do we want to, what we doing? Are we putting away something tangible? Do we have life insurance set up? And this is stuff you do with somebody when you marry. You don't do this in situationships. You don't do this with boyfriends or girlfriends or whatever, right? Do you have real life tangibles? Do you have savings, other things from this relationship, or is it a lot of this? Because it's a lot of conversation and talking. Time to roll. I'm going to finish with this. If nobody had these conversations with you at 17, it's okay. You can have them now. That's why we're doing this. And if you're raising teenagers or you're mentoring young parents, you can become the person you needed. Sit down and have these conversations. Ask yourself these 7 questions. 7 questions. How much money comes in each month? Be honest. It's okay. Nobody going to see them. No shame. Answer them for yourself. Number 2, where does it go? 3, do I have savings? Number 4, what skills can make me money? Number 5, who am I learning from? Number 6, am I building assets or collecting liabilities? Number 7, what kind of life do I want by 30? 7 questions every 17-year-old should answer. Share this video out with a young parent, a young person who needs to hear this. I'm gonna do a part 2 to this because there's other areas I wanted to cover that I didn't get to in this episode. But we're gonna talk about student loans on the next episode. We're gonna talk about trade schools, career paths. We're gonna talk about entrepreneurship and how it's not quick money, how wealth is built quietly, and then we'll get into the conversation every teen needs for part 2 to this episode. Give me your feedback. Give me your thoughts on this. What's some of the questions you wish somebody would have asked you when you were 17 about money, about credit, about wealth, about finances? Let me know your thoughts on this episode. I'm curious. Definitely always want to hear your feedback. I respond to every question. I respond to every comment. I reply to every email. And we hiring, y'all. We getting ready to build a team. So, things is going to be moving and shaking over here. But I appreciate you. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Success Over Statistics podcast. And I will see you for the next one. Peace.